Next up is principle 2 of the sliding spot system. In the video for principle 1, I explained how to shoot for a cross corner kick shot by finding the vanishing point. Go back and check that out if you haven't seen it, but here you would know that on an 8-foot table I'm at diamond 2 and I would just pivot over, and this is going to align for a cross corner kick shot on the 11. I'm just going to shoot it here. This is fast speed center ball hit. Perfect. However, there's a sort of limit to this procedure, and for some reason it works really well from the corner pocket to the side pocket, anywhere in this near rail range. In fact, our extreme of this ends up being right around here. We'll leave it right around there to show this is going to work, but it's not going to work for much longer as it moves out towards that edge of the table. Here I'm right around diamond 3. Fast speed center ball hit. I'm still going to get it to go, but I'm starting to approach what I call sort of the danger zone. It's not exactly an instant changeover, but we see a change once we get past there to the far rail. I'm going to shoot that same procedure into the far rail, and you're going to see, instead of it sort of hitting the rail with fast speed and the way it compresses and kicks out, it's actually going to almost slip off the rail and run long. I don't expect you to be able to eyeball it from that angle, but if you shoot a lot of bank shots, you might know what I'm talking about, where it just, for some reason, this angle, it doesn't seem to kick back in the same way. That was through about 3.5. I'm expecting here, I'm going to shoot the same way, the same procedure, but I'm going to run about a half a diamond long. I still might clip the ball, but it won't be as good a shot as I just did. However, there is a predictable adjustment to make. I find I only have to back up a quarter diamond further. So I was at diamond 2, I need to be further off the table. So now I would slide backwards to diamond 175. And if you don't know where that is, because you don't have the diamonds, of course, on, the markers, I just go to the middle and I'd cut that in half again and I'd be at 175. So I'm a quarter diamond back from my benchmark location for this, and I would just pivot over and aim at that. And this gives me the spot, it was about 1.7. So now I'm going to shoot a fast speed center ball hit at 2.7, sorry. Of course, this adjustment is relative to your table size's benchmark location. When I say benchmark location, I refer back to the idea that an 8-foot table is at diamond 2 for cross corner, but a 7-foot table isn't there. A 7-foot table would be 2.5. So on a 7-foot table, your quarter diamond adjustment would be down back here. So now I'd be at 2.25 instead of 2.5. Likewise, on a 9-foot table, and this is really, really nice, your benchmark is around 1.25, so this would be around diamond 1. It's so easy to visualize. You're going to take this shot at some point on a 9-foot table. If you line this up, you're going to shock someone. You're going to just line up, you're going to see this setup and go, oh, I'm just going to put my tip at diamond 1. You are like just locked in for this pattern. Even in this tight angle, you'd be able to hit it. Now, I'm not going to shoot it here because it's the wrong spot for this table, but even in this tight range, it will work. I'll show it on the 8-foot table here. I'm going to go to half, 1.75, and I'm going to pivot over. Even on this tight spot, it's about 2.2. Even in this tight location here, you've got a real good chance of making this kick. It's important I talk about why this is happening. For a cross corner kick, it's easy to notice, are you aiming into the near rail? No adjustment needed. Are you aiming into the far rail? Now you have an adjustment that's needed. But the reality is, it's not actually that instant of a change in other patterns. So we need to sort of know a way to figure out when are we entering the danger zone of the ball running long, and we need to add a quarter diamond. So what I want you to notice is that any ball here has to go into this rail. As soon as you come into this range, you're kind of aimed into the side pocket. Well, the truth is you can actually make it here from diamond 8, but once you end up here, you're clearly beyond into this location. And here, from here to here is four diamonds. This is a 45-degree angle. As soon as you enter the range where you're less than 45 degrees, as soon as that happens, I find you need this quarter diamond adjustment. Let me give you a more specific example. Let's say I was kicking into a ball there and I was shooting from maybe here. I don't know if you can kind of eyeball. I'm now going to have to aim into this near rail relative to that ball. But the problem is I've now, I don't know, let's say I'm just going to guess the line of aim. Maybe I'd have to aim into that spot. I'm not really thinking in this moment, but I'm just sort of showing now this angle into this rail is clearly less than 45 degrees. How do I know it's clearly less than 45 degrees? Because the distance from kind of where the point of aim would be to the ball, this is longer than the point from that spot out to the ball. This distance is way shorter than this distance. And when that happens, this angle is less than 45 degrees, and you're gonna need a quarter diamond adjustment. Here's a second situation where we might have to put this idea into action and process, do we need the quarter diamond adjustment? Well, in this case, I have a kick that's sort of spanning both sides of the table. So this ends up being the far rail and this is kind of the near rail. But at the same time, it's clear that you would have to aim, I don't know, somewhere into here, especially at fast speed. You'd aim somewhere here, maybe slow speed would be more out like this. But either way, to make the kick shot into this 11, you're aiming into the far rail. But when I look at this pattern, the distance along here to where the ball would be, it's like a triangle here, this distance is much shorter than this distance there. So that tells me I do not need an adjustment if I were using this pattern. Here I've set up a situation where you kind of have exactly a 45-degree angle. I have the ball aligned, at least visually, through diamond 3 to diamond 3, and maybe that would kick, that might be a little bit in that spot there. But the idea is, what if your entry angle was perfectly 45 degrees? This distance is exactly the same as that distance. Well, here I find you don't really need the adjustment yet, but you're entering the zone where you will. And unfortunately, that's a little bit gray because if you're here and you're here, okay, well, what about now? At some point, it can't go from not needing it to needing it. It can't be this instantaneous change. There's sort of a moment of more progressive growth, but I find that it'd be too much to sort of measure. So now I'm just going to demonstrate 4 shots where sometimes I need the adjustment and sometimes I don't, so you can see that sort of process of thinking. I've set myself up to start needing one instantly. I'm going to kick into the far rail to go to the 13. On an 8-foot table, I go to my benchmark 2 and back up a quarter diamond. This is going to be the point of aim to kick through the far rail. It's about 2.7. Fast speed, center ball hit. Let's now imagine this ball kicking. Let's kick into this rail. I think we're going to need, well, I'll see when it lines up. It's almost obvious that we're going to need to, if we kick at that ball, to go through the far rail. So again, in this case, I'm aiming to the far rail. We're less than 45 degrees. I need my quarter diamond adjustment. It's about 2.9. It's dead on. Of course, you don't want to scratch, but that's pretty accurate. So now we'll see here, this is going to be interesting to kick at the 11. Or should we kick at the 12? Well, let's do one that doesn't need the adjustment. I'm going to kick at the 12 from where that lies. So now I'm kicking into relative to this position. This is the near rail. So I'm going to go to diamond 2. And I'm not going to come back because this is my natural location. It's about 1.8, a little longer than 1.8 rather. It's dead on again. And let's do a really fun one. Let's go into that spot to kick at the 11. Now I need the adjustment because diamond 2, that's not going to align me through the near rail. I'm aiming through the far rail. I'm probably off the screen, but that makes it all the more interesting. So here I have my tip at 175. This is hard to see from that angle, but I'm getting 145. Of course, this is just principle 2 in the sliding spot system, and this alone actually gives you a lot of tools in your tool bag to kick cross corner confidently and accurately. However, we're interested in not just kicking there cross corner, but kicking at other speeds and kicking at other locations, which is actually the topic of principle 3. What happens if the ball is not in the corner, but what happens if the ball is somewhere along the long rail? How can we make predictable adjustments to the tip location for a cross corner shot in order to hit a shot that is no longer in the corner? Stick around.